I started to drink more and more and more, and it was really hard for me to accept that that meant I was an alcoholic.
Alcoholic, I'm not quite sure that I am one, but if I'm not one, I'm very near. I'm very right on the edge of being one.
I mean, I just was clearly using alcohol to cover the disease.
I did drugs, I did alcohol, so, and there was nothing that could stop.
From the glam of old Hollywood to billion-dollar blockbusters, some of the biggest stars were battling bottles behind the scenes. From Robert Downey Jr.'s rise from rock bottom, to Iron Man, to Judy Garland, the voice of a generation destroyed by addiction. These aren't just stories, they're real and unforgettable. Let's uncover the 15 most iconic celebrities who were drunk all the time. Robert John Downey Jr., also known as RDJ. Robert Downey Jr.'s journey reads like a Hollywood thriller, with darker twists, from dazzling in less than zero, to spiraling into crack, heroin, and alcohol in the early 90s. His life became tabloid fodder. By 1996, he was arrested with multiple drugs and a gun, famously found barefoot and disoriented on a neighbor's property after jail time, and court-ordered rehab in 2001.
Taking drugs and drinking and all of that.
I'm sorry, I really don't. What are we doing? Bye.
He hit rock bottom. His turning point? An ultimatum from now wife Susan, plus 12-step programs, yoga, meditation, therapy. Marvel took a gamble. Mel Gibson underwrote his insurance. And in 2008, Iron Man became the phoenix from the ashes. Downey coined the phrase, "hug the cactus," a raw metaphor for embracing emotional pain. Even Tom Holland echoes it today. 17 years sober, Robert Downey Jr. became a sobriety champion. A second act that was pure gold. Judy Garland, known as Baby, or Baby Gum. Judy Garland's voice could move mountains, but behind that magical tone was a life scarred by addiction, exhaustion, and heartbreak. Thrust into stardom as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, Garland was fed amphetamines at just 16 by studio execs trying to keep her thin. It sparked a lifelong dependence on pills and alcohol. Her adult years, turbulent marriages, suicide attempts, financial ruin. Though she dazzled on stage, she often performed sedated or drunk.
When I was very young, I was either addicted to drinking or pills. I wouldn't have had time to learn a song.
Her final shows in London. There were heartbreaking echoes of a fading star. On June 22nd, 1969, she was found dead in her bathroom, just 47 years old, the victim of an accidental barbiturate overdose. Judy's life became a symbol of how Hollywood once chewed up its brightest lights and left only shadows behind. Johnny Depp. Full birth name is John Christopher Depp II. Hollywood's most enigmatic heartthrob, lived a life as chaotic as his most eccentric characters, behind roles like Pirates of the Caribbean and Edward Scissorhands. Depp battled alcohol and drug dependency for decades. He once admitted, "I spent years poisoning myself," especially during his explosive relationship with model Kate Moss in the 90s. His addictions took center stage in the courtroom, where therapists confirmed his use of alcohol, MDMA, and cocaine.
When I was 11 years old, I wanted to calm down. I'd bring my mom her nerve pill, walk away, take one myself.
Depp never denied it. He often romanticized pain through art. But pain doesn't stay pretty forever. Today, he claims to be in better control. But he's not fully sober, and many fans still worry. Depp's story proves even the most beloved stars can spiral when fame, trauma, and addiction collide. Anthony Hopkins, known as Sir Philip Anthony Hopkins, the man behind Hannibal Lecter, was once another soul, drowning in booze. He was, in his own words, very difficult to work with, unpredictable, dangerous. One night in 1975, he blacked out in Phoenix, Arizona, woke up with no memory of how he got there. That was his turning point. He joined Alcoholics Anonymous, and he's been sober ever since.
49 years ago today, I stopped. I was having such fun. But then I realized I was in big trouble.
Over 47 years, he calls addiction the curse of ego and urges others to seek help without shame. "Today is the tomorrow you were so worried about yesterday," he once said. That line is now his life mantra. Hopkins proves that even in your darkest hour, you can still find brilliance on the other side. Ben Affleck. Full birth name is Benjamin Geza Affleck. It is proof that addiction doesn't care about fame or success. Alcoholism runs in his family. His father drank heavily, became homeless. His brother also battled addiction. Ben entered rehab in 2001. But things worsened as his marriage began to crumble around 2015. Blackouts, nightly drinking, secrecy. He returned to rehab in 2017 and again in 2018, 40 days. Then, outpatient care. In 2019, he called a relapse a slip, not a failure.
I started to drink more and more and more, and it was really hard for me to accept that that meant I was an alcoholic. I can just go back.
He poured his pain into The Way Back, a film that became both therapy and truth. Today, Affleck reminds us, sobriety is a lifelong commitment. And getting help, he says, is a sign of courage, not weakness. Elizabeth Taylor. Full birth name is Dame Elizabeth Rosamond Taylor. She wasn't just a screen goddess. She was a revolution. By the early 1980s, she was deep in the grip of alcohol and pills, mixing vodka with Valium, Demerol, and sleeping meds. But instead of hiding, she did the unthinkable. In 1983, she checked into the Betty Ford Center, becoming the first major celebrity to do so publicly. It shattered the stigma. Rehab was no longer shameful. It was responsible. She returned in 1988 for a second round, and from that point forward, she became a recovery icon.
It appears that Elizabeth's life was blighted by injuries and addictions, so determining her precise cause of death won't be easy.
Her bravery inspired others. Liza Minnelli, Johnny Cash, and more. Elizabeth didn't just recover, she redefined what recovery meant in Hollywood. Mel Gibson, full birth name, Mel Columcille Gerard Gibson. Gibson's triumphs were often eclipsed by public unraveling, and at the heart of it all was alcohol. He started drinking at just 13, and it spiraled for decades. Then came 2006, his infamous DUI arrest. But it wasn't just the booze. He unleashed an anti-Semitic tirade that nearly destroyed his career overnight. He owned it. He didn't run. He checked into rehab again, and later admitted,
I did drugs, I did alcohol, and there was nothing that could stop me from doing that.
I went through a nuclear explosion in my life. He's stayed sober since. Funded recovery clinics for others. And while some still debate his redemption, Gibson's journey is a cautionary tale, where talent clashed with addiction, and accountability was the only way out. Humphrey DeForest Bogart, nicknamed Bogey, the tough guy icon of old Hollywood, was a rebel in every sense. With films like Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon, he became a legend. But behind the scenes, Bogey had a serious love affair with the bottle. He kept a thermos of martinis on set. Once, I roamed the studio lot in pajamas, on a bike, completely sloshed. His drinking buddy? A stuffed panda named Pandemonium. Wild bar nights with Sinatra's Rat Pack. Pure chaos. But he always showed up to work. Still, the cost was heavy. He died in 1957 from esophageal cancer, likely worsened by years of heavy smoking and drinking. Bogey's charm was unmatched, but his lifestyle was a relic, from an era of beautiful, brutal excess. Michael Andrew Fox, known professionally as Michael J. Fox, forever known as Marty McFly, faced a twist no movie could prepare him for. At just 29, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and for years, he drank to escape it. I was definitely an alcoholic, he admitted in 2023.
I just was clearly using alcohol to cover the disease.
He hid his diagnosis for 7 years, numbing the fear with whiskey. Eventually, he broke. He flushed the booze. Choose purpose over pity. Founded the Michael J. Fox Foundation, which raised over $1.50 billion for Parkinson's research. Today, he's not just sober, he's a symbol of what happens when hope outshines fear. Chris Farley. Full birth name is Christopher Crosby Farley. Chris Farley was a force of nature. Loud, wild, hilarious. He lit up Saturday Night Live, but behind the laughs was a man drowning. Alcohol, drugs, food disorders. It was all consuming.
Then he would isolate too, because he never wanted to be a burden. You know, it's tough, especially with drugs. And
he worshipped John Belushi, and tragically mirrored his fall. Farley was suspended from SNL. Friends like David Spade and Lorne Michaels tried to save him. Rehab, relapse, heartbreak. In December 1997, he was found dead in his Chicago apartment. A speedball overdose, same as Belushi. He was only 33. His last SNL appearance, you could see it in his eyes. A broken man, a reminder that comedy, it can be a mask for unimaginable pain. Kelsey Grammer, most prominent nickname is Frasier. TV's most sophisticated voice, was living a secret tragedy. His father was murdered. His sister, killed. Both half-brothers, gone in a scuba accident. The grief swallowed him. He spiraled into alcohol and cocaine, even at the peak of Frasier.
His colleagues on Cheers saw him battling cocaine and alcohol.
It's remarkable I survived some of that.
Multiple DUIs, one near-fatal crash in 2003. Then came rehab. He turned inward, through faith, therapy, and a new family. I was always trying to fill a hole, he confessed, now sober. Grammer uses his story to show others, even in darkness, you can still rebuild. Errol Flynn, his most famous nickname is Satan's Angel, the original Hollywood bad boy, charming, daring, and drunk. The man behind Robin Hood, once partied with a young Fidel Castro, kept vodka-filled oranges on set. To hide the habit, his Malibu home, nicknamed Cirrhosis by the Sea, producers begged him to slow down, but Flynn once said, "I intend to live forever, or die trying." When he passed in 1959, 6 bottles of whiskey were buried with him. Flynn didn't just live fast. He burned out faster, a rogue on screen, a hurricane in life. John Belushi, full birth name is John Adam Belushi. John Belushi was electric, explosive, brilliant, and wild. From Saturday Night Live to Animal House, he owned every room, but off stage, the party never stopped. He mixed booze, cocaine, and heroin, until the chaos consumed him.
John Belushi, God bless him, is an addict A to Z. And just like every other addict, it's a deadly disease.
In 1982, he was found dead at the Chateau Marmont, a speedball overdose. He was 33. Robin Williams and Robert De Niro had visited him hours earlier. His death sent shockwaves and forced Hollywood to face its demons. Belushi left behind unforgettable comedy and a heartbreaking lesson. Even stars burn out when no one stops the fire. Richard Burton, nicknamed Lumpy, the voice of thunder, Shakespeare's gift to Hollywood, and also one of its most famous drinkers, 3 bottles of vodka a day. On set, he joked, "I'm sober after 2.
Being an alcoholic, I'm not quite sure that I am one, but if I'm not one, I'm very near. I'm right on the edge of being one.
While filming The Klansman, he was so drunk. They filmed him lying down or sitting. His volatile love with Elizabeth Taylor only fueled the fire. Burton eventually found sobriety, but the damage was done. He died in 1984 from liver and kidney failure. Behind the booming voice, he was a man quietly drinking away his pain. Robert Shaw, nicknamed Gotch. Robert Shaw gave us one of the cinema's greatest monologues, in Jaws, and he delivered it while drunk. Shaw's battles with Scotch were legendary. On set, he clashed with Richard Dreyfuss. Once, Dreyfuss tossed his drink overboard, and chaos followed. But even drunk, Shaw nailed the iconic USS Indianapolis scene in one take, off camera.
We all knew he had a little bit of a drinking issue, and he did come to me and ask for my permission to have a few drinks before he shot the scene.
His drinking took a toll. Health, family, everything. He died of a heart attack in 1978, just 51. His story was classic old Hollywood, where brilliance, ego, and addiction burned white hot and faded too soon.